What is up guys, my name of course is Carlo and welcome yet to another video, and it's a sort of video I really wasn't going to do because it's quite personal, but I thought I need to do this because I've had a lot of questions asked to me about my shaking, about my speech, so on and so on. So this is sort of like a roundup video for you guys. I mean, must admit a lot of you guys already should know because I've mentioned it in previous videos. But this is about my Parkinson's. A few years ago I was diagnosed with Parkinson's, which wasn't the best news I've ever heard in my life. It started off quite early in my life. I had something which is known as benign essential tremors, which means basically my hands shake. And then over the years it's obviously developed into Parkinson's, which wasn't welcome really. So I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about how I get through my day, and how it affects me, so on and so on, especially being a filmmaker, so on and so on. Now, to start off with, it is annoying, something annoying to have. I have rules in my life, rules put into place in my life, for safety reasons of myself and safety reasons for safety of others as well. So for instance, when I eat I use a plastic knife and fork, so on and so on, plastic glasses, because what happens is I do shake, but then sometimes my hands will just go off on a tangent and my body would just spaz out, or flinch out, and if I'm holding, say for instance, glass or a sharp knife or anything, that could end up literally anywhere, which is quite annoying, really. Because I started off with benign essential tremors, and that is obviously where you shake as well, very sort of similar sort of thing. I've sort of got used to the fact of having Parkinson's because I've known how to sort of cope with the benign essential tremors to some point. So they're sort of in essence have 2P'd over each other. So I've always thought at the beginning that benign essential tremors was part of everything, but then as the years have gone on, it's obviously developed into full-blown Parkinson's. Now, obviously there's certain things that I'm never going to be allowed to do, which is quite sad, which is things like driving. I'm not allowed to drive, which is quite annoying because I really, I've got 2 cars, and I really want to be able to get in one of them cars and drive it. It's independence at the end of the day, and who doesn't want their own independence in life? Very important. So that's one thing I'm never going to be able to do, which is sad, very, very sad. Eating with metal knives and forks, I used to be able to do that, but now I can't. I have to use plastic knives and forks, and like I've just said, I have to use things like plastic glasses, anything that will pose a danger to myself. And when I'm using it, I'm not allowed to use like heavy machinery, for instance, tools, screwdrivers, anything that is made of metal that has a sharp object and is dangerous. I'm not allowed to use. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, but Carlo, you do things like visual effects, you do video editing, so on and so on, which is, yeah, absolutely correct, I do. But it's something that takes me a long time to do, so it will take me probably about 5 to 6 times longer to, say for instance, edit a video than it would do a normal person, because my hands are not steady on the mouse, if that makes sense. My fingers are not steady on the actual buttons. So even though I sort of look alright now, it's one of them things where it just, once I start focusing on something, it sort of gets 100 times worse. So I know for a fact that I'm never going to be hired by a really big massive studio to do their video editing and visual effects. I've done some work for various studios, but because it takes me a long time to do things because of my shaking, I'm never going to be able to fulfill my dream of working for a big studio, which is, yes, it's sad and it's depressing, but at the end of the day I sat down and thought to myself, shit happens, what am I going to do, sit here and cry about it, or just get on with my life. So that's why I think most of the time I do my own thing, and I make my own movies, do my own visual effects, so on and so on. Now, to start, when I first started this channel, I was in, you know, the banana central tremor sort of stage thing, so I could sort of cope and not cope, if that makes sense. I could cope a lot better than I can now, but obviously as I'm getting older, I'm getting older, it's getting worse. So I do know by the time I'm probably 60, 59, 60, so on and so on, I'm going to be like Kenwood Chef. I'm going to be wobbling around all over the place, and doing things like this may become very difficult for me. It is still difficult now for me, but I bite my tongue and I progress with it and I fight it. And sometimes, like when I'm editing a video, I get very frustrated because I really don't want to shake. I really want to just be in control of what I'm doing, and not having that control of what you're doing is devastating, and it really does like wind you up. You know, I have to sort of rely on my wife to help me with about 98% of things around the house, which is things obviously I don't show on camera because obviously it's very personal to me. But I think it's very important that I bring the video to you guys so you know exactly what goes on behind the scenes in my life. Now, I'm not going to show you because there's no point. You can't rehearse this sort of stuff and you can't put it on. It just happens when it happens. But things like cooking, boiling water, so on and so on, is very hard for me to do. Now, I can do it, and I have done it in a few of my videos, but I do take chances, and chances I shouldn't take, because I can harm myself. Like for instance, pouring a cup of coffee from a kettle. If my hand decides to go, which often enough it does, I can end up getting boiling hot water all over my skin, which is not good. Things like preparing food, cooking and stuff like that. I have shown it in my videos before, me doing things like that, but I'm an idiot by doing things like that. It's just that I want to live a normal life, and I try and push myself to do things that I shouldn't do, which is stupid on my account because it's very, very dangerous. It's dangerous for me. I could injure myself. So 98% of the time my wife is doing all my cooking, you know, things like that. Now, I can do mediocre things like wash myself and get dressed, so on and so on. That's not a problem. But when it comes to things like cooking, driving, anything that can pose a threat, yeah, I can't do it. And obviously I can't get employed by most companies, or if not all companies, because the insurance levels for me are going to be too high. So if I go to apply for a job and then I've got to obviously disclose that I've got Parkinson's, mixed obviously at the same time with benign central tremors, because I've still got that, which is making the Parkinson's a little bit more worse. I have to disclose it, and as soon as they see that on the form, they say, sorry, we can't hire you because you know, insurance, you know, is too high, so on and so on, which is depressing and it's heartbreaking at the same time. It really does get me down sometimes, and I have in the past suffered with depression over it, even though I try not to show it, or I don't show it in front of my kids, you know, and even my wife at the same time. I don't show it. Inside I do get really frustrated with the whole idea of having this and having to put up with it, because I just want to be able to do the simple things in life. Now, some days I'm really good, and some days I get along with it and I cope with it really, really well, and they're the days that I'm really happy, so on and so on. But with the days that I'm not too good with it, shall I say, it does depress the head out of me. And I think you will notice when I'm going through the bad days is when I don't upload videos, because normally I'm 1 to 2 videos a guy a week, but then when there's gaps, I think, you know, I come to you and I make videos and I do tell little white lies about why I'm not here, which, you know, what am I going to do? You know, I don't want people feeling sorry for me. I don't want, you know, things like that, you know. and I say to you, you know, sorry, I can't, you know, I've been away time and time because of the situation now. But the real situation is purely because my Parkinson's is out of control, and sometimes I'm shaking so much I feel sick inside, I feel dizzy, my speech goes funny because that's a side effect of Parkinson's. I feel pains in my arms, I feel sick, chest pains, so on and so on, because the anxiety and stress of it. Because I can't explain what, I mean, the best way to explain it is if you know that game where you got to get the hoop around and you got to go around the bar without it buzzing. It's trying to do that, and if you don't do that, you know what I mean, you're gonna like lose like £1 million or something, and you get so frustrated because you just want to do it, but you keep hitting that magnet, keep hitting that bar, and that alarm keeps going off. It's that sort of frustration, you know. I think that's why my short film is taking, well, I know that's why my short film's taking a long time as well to do, is because a 16-minute or 20-minute edit like this takes me a long time to do, purely because when I'm trying to like put the mouse on the screen, it goes everywhere, and it's like target practice for me. I'm trying to get the, you know, get the mouse cursor on the actual icon I want to select, and that can be frustrating and really aggravating and make me really, really angry. But you know, that's life at the end of the day, and that's what I'm born with, that's what I've got. And I'm not going to let this shit get me down. I still want to edit videos, I still want to create music, I still want to make YouTube videos, and I don't see why frustration and what I have to go through in order to get that done should hold me back. I'm not a quitter, you know, I've never been a quitter, I've always been a trier, and I've always been the sort of person that if I want something done, it's quite important that you guys know the full SP of what's going on with me. When I go through stages of not releasing tutorials, for instance, on the channel, it's not because I don't want to, I can't be bothered, I'm too lazy to, it's because sometimes I can't, because my shaking is just out of control and I just can't sit there and just focus on doing it even though I want to. Things like holding a camera, there's a lot of videos on my channels that are so wobbly it's unbelievable. It's because I've been trying to brave it without a gimbal. And obviously things like gimbals and stabilisers and things like that are a lot of money, which thankfully now I've got all that kit to sort of help me with my YouTube videos and sort of help me with my filmmaking. Things like this rig behind me here is not stabilised, so 90% of the film that we've shot, that I'm shooting at the moment, is done by cast members. The filming is filmed by members of the cast, because I seriously can't hold the camera, I wobble too much. So yeah, there it is. Another different video, but I think I need to bring this to you guys because I think it's quite important. It's part of me, and obviously I do know in the future it's going to get worse, and it's going to come to a point where I'm not going to be able to do nothing at all. But I think it's about living in the now, and not living in the future. You know, I live for now, not for sort of a couple of years time. So as always guys, thanks for watching. I hope I haven't depressed the shit out of you too much with this video, but I have been getting a lot of questions in my inbox, loads actually, about why I'm shaking on my video. Why, Carla, why are you shaking? Why are you slurring your words? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? So this is the video to explain all to you guys, and hopefully you can understand why all them things happen. At the same time, you know, I do fight it a lot, and I do hide it in front of the camera. You know, things I don't show you near enough any of what I go through on a daily basis with my Parkinson's, but I think it's necessary to explain all. And I think what happened with Emily has inspired me to talk more about it, which I think is quite important. I've always been sort of hush-hush about my Parkinson's, so on and so on, but the passing of Emily Haywood has, I think, made me think to myself, I don't need to hide it anymore. I don't need to shy away from it. Even though I have dropped some hints and things in videos in the past, I think it's important for me to be more upfront with it and be more honest and not hide it. At the end of the day, it's a part of me, it's a part of who I am. So that's basically what it is. So as always guys, thank you so much for your support. Thanks for watching. The other video I did a couple of days ago on Emily Haywood, there is a fundraising for Emily's charity. So if you go over to that video, which I'll post a link in the description below, go over to a fundraising page, try and raise as much money for Macmillan Cancer Research as we possibly can, which will be great. So if you can go over there, or whatever you can, that would help us out a lot, or help Emily's charity out a lot. So as always guys, thanks for watching, and I'll definitely catch you guys in the next video. Ciao ciao.